And for this part, I have brought my talus. Here, I've got a little talus here. And this comes, I'll just write this out. This is the word for talus or talit. Talit. Okay. Talit. Now remember, the tav can be pronounced as an S. So it's either pronounced talit or talis, depending on if you're from the Mediterranean area, you pronounce it like a tav, like a T, or if you're from Northern Europe, you pronounce it like an S, where it's talis. Okay, and it's related to the word talisman. Talisman, it sure is. So a talisman is something sort of like a good luck charm, or something that you use to, give you comfort, give you spiritual connection to your God, whatever it is that you use for a connection to God. So the talus that we have traditionally has what's called tzitzit. I won't write that down, but the tzitzit are tassels. So this one has these little tassels, but it has on the four corners, it has big tassels. See? In each corner you've got these big tassels. All right? And the tassels are meant to remind us of our connection to God. So when we wear a talus, when a Jew wears a talus, traditionally it's worn by the men, but women can wear it today also in certain traditions. You say a little blessing, and it's not written on here, but sometimes it's written on the collar. And so you bless God, and you thank God for the privilege of wearing a talus, and then you put it on, and it's meant to remind you that you're standing in front of God. Okay, so I'm wearing my talus here to remind me that I'm standing in front of God.
Do they also wear vests?
No. They can wear what's called a talit katan, which is a mini talus, which they wear underneath their clothing. It's like a it's like a shirt. The Mormons have something similar, but it's worn as an undergarment. This is an overgarment, and it's supposed to cover your shoulders and act sort of like wings. Okay, and so what I'm doing here is just out of respect for God, because I'm going to be teaching the names of God, I'm wearing my talus today. Okay.
Talus is Northern Europe, Ashkenazi, and
right.
Talit is Southern Europe, Sephardic, and
right.
It's the same thing.
Same word, exactly the same word. Okay, so the names of God. The first name I'm going to teach you is the name that's in the Ten Commandments, and it's the Tetragrammaton. So the Tetragrammaton just means 4 letters. Tetra, 4, grammaton, letters. It's the 4-letter name of God, and that's really the name He gives Himself, and the one that's most important to us. All right, so the 4-letter name of God is Yud, He, Vav, He. All right? This is what you see in the scrolls. You don't see any vowel markings. So there's a lot of possibilities. So remember, the Yud can be pronounced either as a Y, or an I, or a J, right? The He is pronounced like a H. The Vav can be pronounced like a V, or an O, or a U, right?
Or a W.
Or a W. All right. He again is pronounced like an H, all right? Traditionally, you'll see it written with a shva under the Yud and a kamatz under the Vav. And traditionally it's pronounced in Christian liturgy, Jehovah. Okay? Jehovah with the J. It can also be pronounced with the Y sound. Yehovah.
Yeah.
Yehovah. In Spain, it's pronounced with the Y, A-H-V-E-H. Yahweh. Or it can be pronounced Yahweh. Yahweh. A very frequent version of the four-letter word for God in the Bible is Yah. Yah. Just takes the first two letters. Yeah.
Is Yahweh regional?
Probably, well, if you pronounce the Vav as a W, it would be more Arabian Peninsula. The Yemenites all pronounce, the Yemenite Jews from Yemen pronounce the Vav as a W. So Yahweh. But we've heard this one, right? We've heard this one before. Okay? So that is the four-letter name of God. Now,
You should call that a tetragon?
Tetra. Oh, okay. Let me write that down for you. Sorry. Tetra, meaning four. Grammaton, letter. The Tetragrammaton. Okay? That's Greek. I believe that's Greek. Yeah. Yeah, that is Greek. So the Tetragrammaton. All right? So, taking the four-letter word for God a little further and understanding more, because everything can be understood with more depth in the Bible. You've got three verbs. Okay? You've got ye, ye, Yihye. You don't have to remember the vowels, but that's the way it's pronounced. Yihye, which means will be. Remember, when you have a yud as a prefix, it frequently makes verbs. Future, will be. And you've got haya. Haya, which means is. Okay. Then you've got hove. Hove, right? So that's used as a vowel and a consonant. Hove, see the O there, was. Okay? So Yihye will be, future, Haya is, and Hove was. Will be, is, was. So when you take apart the meaning of the four-letter word, the Tetragrammaton for God, in the Hebrew Bible, it really means the eternal. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Eternal. Eternal in time. Infinite. Forever. Okay, it's a very powerful word and a very powerful name. Out of deference to God, very frequently we will not either pronounce this word or write it in its fullness. We write it with a lot of protection. So in this case, we're writing it with some vowels and sort of protecting God's name. Okay?
So how does writing the vowels protect God's name?
Well, a lot of times when you write the four-letter word, or a lot of people believe that when it's unadorned, when it's uncovered, you know, it's just in its purity, it's at risk. The name is at risk. So there's just a lot of conventions over the millennia to protect God's name and to protect us from saying God's name in vain, because we do feel that we're going to get punished if we do that. First and foremost are beholden to God, and if we're using God's name, we have to make sure that it's being used, of course, by us with great reverence and care, and then by anybody else.
Jehovah, it would be okay because it's adorned with vowels, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Okay? So,
Is
question?
it ever pronounced without vowels?
Silently in our minds, I don't know. That's the big mystery. The big mystery is if it wasn't pronounced physically, in a physical manner, how would we pronounce it spiritually, in our minds? I mean, we physically based humans don't know how to do that. I don't know. But you can go through your mind and figure out what word, which pronunciation works best for you in your own mind, and then when you speak it with great reverence, when you speak it physically out loud. So yeah, it's loaded with a lot of meaning. So that same name, the four-letter name of God, which can be either pronounced somehow with the pronunciation that we have, the pronunciation guide that we have, or it can be referred to, and a lot of times you'll see this in the Hebrew Bible, as Hashem. Hashem. Okay, the way you write Hashem is He, Shin, Mem Sofit, Hashem. What does He mean as a prefix?
The.
Good, the. And Shem means name. Okay, but in this case we know we're referring to God's name, so we capitalize it. The name. Okay, Hashem. So you'll hear that a lot. Again, we don't want to disrespectfully say God's name, so we say Hashem. The other name that we use is Adonai. Either Adonai with a I, or Adonai with a Y, depending on how you want to spell out the Yud. And that's written with an Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. Okay, did you all figure out that those were the letters? Adonai. Okay, and this is actually with a Chatef, Patach, Cholam, and Patach. Adonai. Okay, and since it's a Chatef, it's a short A, so it'd be Adonai. Just to let you know, the root for Adonai is Adon, which means foundation.
The dot, is it above
The Dalet. It's just to the left of the Dalet.
Okay.
Yeah. Foundation. And remember, possessive means my foundation. Okay? Adonai. Another short version of Adonai, in case you're very, very holy, you don't want to say even Adonai, is you'll put a Yud, Yud, you'll see this, Yud, Yud, and Yud with a Shva and with a Kamatz, okay? That also means Adonai. Same thing. When God talks to Moses, God's very personal. God's very forthright with Moses because Moses has earned God's trust. So in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. It's written, and you've heard this before. Eye asher eye, right? And this is the way it's spelled. Eye asher oops, yeah.
Oh, that's long.
It's long. It's a yeah. It's a verse actually. So I'll write this out here. Ye. Remember the rabbis added the vowel markings. Asher. Yeah. Okay. So it's a short E, right? With an H. And then because of the schwa, it's going to be a apostrophe. Ye. Asher. Yeah. Okay? And it's I will be. Do you see the root here? Hi. Hi. That's the root for be. Hey yud. So I will be, which I will be. Okay? Eye.
Where we got I am that I am.
That's it. That's the verse. I am that I am. Okay? I am that I am. Okay, I'll just make these into big eyes here. The next form. I'm going to leave that up for now.
So you're changing it from I will be, which I will be, to I am that I am.
Well, this is the traditional understanding, the traditional explanation.
Because it's easier to grasp.
To grasp, that's
but
right.
The actual Hebrew is in the future.
That's what it's supposed to, that's the way the Hebrews translate it, right? But you can see how they got am.
Right.
With the hey yud means be. Be.
Right.
I exist.
Right.
So either way is probably pretty accurate. Accurate enough for our needs. So the next form of God is Elohim. Everybody's heard of Elohim, right?
It's
All right.
typically used with Adonai.
It can be, yes. Okay, so Elohim, Aleph, Lamed, Cholam. So sorry, this is a Chatef Segol. Cholam, Hey, Hirek, Yud, and Mem Sofit. Okay, remember? Okay, so Elohim. Okay? Remember we learned that as a suffix, Yud Mem means plural. El is the root, and El, okay, the Aleph is self, Lamed is towards. It's sort of like a magnet pulling you towards El, which is God. That means God. It's not the Tetragrammaton. It's actually a generic word for God, or moving towards, movement towards. When you make it plural, it becomes Elohim. If you have it singular, which you will almost never see, but you'll see it sometimes, is El Elo. Oh, sorry, it says Vav O here. Elo. Ha. Okay?
That's for the vowels for the singular form.
Yes, only for the singular. Okay? But the vast majority of time you'll see it written out as Elohim. So there's a suggestion that there are many faces, many aspects of God. There are also Elohim Acherim. When you see that written, Acher means other. Acherim means others. Elohim Acherim are the false gods. In the Old Testament, in the 5 books of Moses, very frequently, well, not very frequently, but often you will see the word Shaddai. Can you see this? Okay. So Shaddai, Shin, Dalet, Yud. All right. And that's what, with a patach. Shaddai. Usually written out like this. Shaddai. Okay. She means of. Dai means plenty. Of plenty. So God gives us much, right? So you can see it almost like a cornucopia. So this version of Shaddai, sometimes you'll hear it expressed as many other different things that refer to plenty, like cornucopia. It just means the God of plenty, the God that really does give us everything. Okay? Shaddai. El, God. Shaddai. Very good. Right. El Shaddai. So you'll hear this too. The God of plenty. And it does refer in context to Jehovah. Okay? So going back to this word, El, a lot of times you will see names in the Bible with El in it. For example, there's Betzalel, which we just studied about Betzalel in Leviticus. The Israelites have gotten out of Egypt and they're now ready to receive God's wisdom, and they're building the tabernacle. So the person who was chosen to actually see the image of the tabernacle and oversee the construction is a man named Betzalel.
This is another name of God?
No, this is using it in context. Here's the name of God, right there. El, okay. This is, a lot of times you'll see this root, El, used in names, in Hebrew names. So, Be, Sal, El. Be, what does this mean as a prefix? In. Okay. And then El means God. What's the root here? Sal means image. Image. In image, and you can say of God. In image of God.
Is that also in Genesis?
That's in Genesis, yeah. It's no, sorry, it's in Leviticus. So this guy's name, this is the man who helped Moses build the tabernacle. In the image of God, Betzalel. His parents named him Betzalel. In the image of God, because that's how we were created, right? But he took on dramatic meaning when building the tabernacle. So I'll just go through some other names. I don't know exactly how to spell them in Hebrew, but Michael, Gabriel, Daniel, very good.
Anytime it's El.
Okay, Michael, It's spelled with El. Gabriel, El at the end. Daniel. Dan, I know the root Dan means judge, God's judge. When you see the El at the end of any name that comes from the Bible, from the Hebrew Bible, it means God. Okay, somehow associated with God. When you're studying the Bible, it has many, many, many different layers. It has an enormous history behind it, thousands of years, and it has a very present, current spiritual connection to God.